All right. Okay, is everybody here?
I don't see Harold.
Yes.
Harold's coming on right now.
I don't think Gary's making it, so
Okay.
I don't see him here.
All right, I guess we'll get started. We'll call the meeting the order at 10:03. Could we get roll call?
Most certainly. Chairman Johnson,
I am here.
Ms. Brum,
Here.
Mr. Bodinas,
Here.
and Mr. Hayes. Can you hear us, Harold?
I see he's here, but I don't see a camera or a microphone by his name. So I don't know if he's just listening to us or what, Pam.
Maybe
Kurt,
we
can you
do a
text
little
him?
chat. Yeah, I'm gonna chat with them right now.
Maybe
Here you go, Mickey.
Maybe he went out. Maybe he'll try to come back on.
If it was good enough for a carrier pigeon in World War I to put it on a piece of paper, we can have our hold up notes as well.
Well, now it looks like he's gone.
He's
Yeah,
probably
maybe-
trying to log back on.
Oh, no, I messed up. Okay. Whew. Okay, so do we just want to hang tight for him?
Yeah, let's give him a minute.
Okay.
I got a quick question. I got a HP laptop here. Does anybody know how to turn a volume up on it? For some reason, my speakers aren't working.
On my machine, if you go to the left-hand bottom corner and click, a panel comes up and there's a thing called settings, and I can get into my sound that way.
On the
If you
H,
push the FN button. I don't know if you can hear me. If you push the FN button on the bottom left, and I think it's like number 6 or right above the 6 button, push FN and the button right above the 6 button, both at the same time. I think that should turn your volume up. Otherwise, if you go to the bottom right, I think you can turn it up down there too.
Hmm.
There should be a little speaker on the bottom right.
yep. On my
No, it
HP,
tells
that's
me
what I
on my
got.
bottom right, I got leave.
I
So
think
then
Harold's
you
here.
put the FN
Alright.
button on your computer. Bottom left.
Exit full screen there, Brad.
Okay.
And then if you go above 6, I think that there's a little speaker on that button above that.
Yeah, it's not working. Okay, anyway, I can hear you guys. It's just not real loud. So,
Harold's here, Pam.
Thank you. Good morning, Harold.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
yep.
Very faint.
Huh? How about now?
Better.
Okay, we got everybody here. So, can I get an approval on the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll support that.
All right, all in favor, we'll do a roll call. Ms. Brum,
Yes.
Mr. Bodins,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Prior meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the prior meeting minutes as written.
Can I get a second on that?
I'll support.
Okay, we'll do the same thing. Roll call. Margaret,
Yes.
Leonard,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
and chair votes yes. Financial report. Mark, you want to do that?
Yeah, obviously it's the first month of the year, so there's not a lot that jumps out. As usual, our other revenue, which is mostly trucked wastewater, is up. We anticipate that continuing. Maybe not as much as last year with BLP no longer sending anything to us. And then the only other thing that jumps out is vehicle and equipment rental is at 24%. And that was a error that we made with all the changes. Report didn't get to Pam on time. And by the time it was entered, it was charged to this budget. So it was truck rental from the motor pool for the plant. So it's going to kind of skewer this year's budget as far as that goes. Just have to track it really closely.
Okay.
But that one's going to stick out for a while.
We'll
Did
be
the
able
truck get
to adjust
returned
that
on
at
time?
the end.
Yeah, it was trucks that we used. We were taking a whole bunch of Vector pad storm sewer waste
Okay.
from MDOT. And as a result of that, we had to rent a dump truck from Motor Pool several times, to haul that material away. And that never got to Pam for her to enter it. And by the time we did enter it in September, we thought we were good. It turns out that the way the financial stuff works, it got charged to this year.
I just didn't want to get any late fees because we didn't.
No,
bill-
no, it was all paid. It's all
Yeah.
legit. It's all good.
So that was a clerical error on my part, and I apologize to the board. I was trying to get it adjusted to the right fiscal year, and because it's an internal charge, it kind of gets a little wonky, so my apologies.
It'll work out in the end. We'll make sure it, just have to keep track of our equipment rental, that's all.
Yeah.
Any questions on it? Those are the only things that jumped out at me.
No, I'm good with it.
Are we being able to run both of the generators with gas generated from the plant? Or are we still buying natural gas?
One generator, for the most part, is always on biogas. The second one, as of right now, is always on natural gas.
Okay. And you expect that to continue through the winter?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions on the financials?
You had a one person off on sick leave because of that terrible fire up in Ishpeming. Are you going to leave that position open, or are you going to get somebody in from the rest of the city to cover it?
He returned to work yesterday.
Oh God, I didn't hear. Thank you.
Yeah,
So-
and also on our open position, we did an interview last week,
Oh, good.
and we're in the process of making an offer, hoping to have somebody in here middle December. With all the COVID stuff going on, we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, we'll be fully staffed here by the first of the year, I hope.
Thanks for the good news on your employee. Appreciate hearing that.
Yep. Yeah, he's doing well.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to solids handling project.
Okay, we're still in the preliminary design phase, I guess you'd call it. We have weekly meetings with Donahue every Friday, and those have been really productive. We kind of have an idea where we're headed with it. There's still a lot of work to be done. And tomorrow they're having a 2-hour, what they call a flow sheet meeting with all your internal people at the whole design team at Donahue. And they don't normally invite clients to attend it, but they've asked me and Dan to attend. So that's a good thing. And that's pretty much where we're at. You know, I didn't bring, they asked if we wanted them to come to the board this month, but I didn't really think there was much to discuss that's different from last month. Maybe next month when we're more concrete idea where we're headed, you know, what equipment we're looking at. We've nailed down the site layout and that sort of stuff. I'll have them come and do another presentation.
Okay.
But it's all preliminary right now, but things are looking good.
All right, operations report.
Just a sec, one question. I got a letter from Harold to the board on the economic
everybody's froze up.
analysis. And first of all, I was wondering where, or I haven't been asked to do any reports like this. So it's like, how did this come about? And secondly, it seemed like it was an in-progress report with a lot of assumptions. Is this the sort of thing that's going to be updated as you go forward with your new plan?
Yeah, Harold wanted to take a look, I guess, an independent look at the numbers
Okay.
that were proposed through Donahue. And he did a very nice job with it. I think a lot of it kind of jives with what Donahue was saying, that this project, the septage and high strength waste receiving station will help pay for the project if we meet our anticipated volumes that we're looking at. And it is a lot of assumptions. We're not going to know until we open it, for sure. So it could be an evolving document for sure.
Can I break in, Mark?
Yes, Harold, I was hoping you would.
Yeah, I was not satisfied, I guess, with the economic analysis that was done before and it wasn't like I was suspicious or anything. It was just that the analysis before was kind of comparing projects and as opposed to comparing this particular part of the project on its own merits, economic merits. So that's why I kind of did this little effort, if you will. One of the things I found was that whether it's 11 cents, if you look at attachment 1 at the bottom of the page, that's the total annual value of the project based on them receiving 11 cents per gallon. So what I came up with is like an annual value at 11 cents per gallon for septage of about $33,000 a year annual. So, and if you go to 15 cents, which is attachment 2, at the bottom of the page, that number jumps to $73,000 a year. That's the value to the plant, economic value. But then in addition to that, I wanted to kind of look at some of the assumptions. One is that the main assumption is how many gallons we're going to receive annually for this, for septage and high strength waste and fog. Anyway, so if you look at the charts, on attachment 3, if you're using 11 cents a gallon, the break even, if you look at 0 on the left, that's the value of the project. And on the x-axis is the percent design volume that's actually received during the year. So if at 11 cents a gallon, if you look at attachment 3, that chart crosses, the 0 line crosses the chart at about 77%. In other words, if we receive less than 77% of the, let's say what we call the design volume, which is a little over 1 million gallons a year. So if we only receive 77% of that, then at that point, we're at a break-even point. In other words, the project will lose money. And anything over that means the project's going to make money. And if you go to 15 cents a gallon, what happens is that 0 line crosses at about 60% possibly, which means you don't need quite as many gallons to make it economical. So that's basically all I did. I guess what it showed to me is that the project is viable, but we need to make sure that we recover or we receive
Those two are ready to go.
that design value. So anyways, that's all I had.
Mark, can you run this by your design team and make sure they're aware of it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, excellent.
Yep. And Harold did a very nice job with it. As far as 11 cents to 15 cents, we kind of went with the assumption of 11 cents for right now, because that's what Ishpeming charges. Like Munising's, I think slightly less than that. I think they're at 10 cents a gallon. So we got to be careful. It'd be nice to charge 15 cents, but if we do that, are we going to get the volume we're anticipating based off of that? Because, are they going to run up the Ishpeming then? So I think our goal when this whole started with Kurt and all of us was to just be competitive with Ishpeming. It's kind of where we're at right now, but that is something that will be looked at as the project goes forward. And
Mark, is
nothing set in stone
possible-
yet.
Have you guys looked at hiring anybody professionally to market this project as far as getting in contact with septic haulers or anything?
I think getting in touch with septic haulers will be me. I've already been contacted by 2 of them,
Okay.
asking us when we were going to have this up and running because they want other options. Like I said, Ishpeming makes it really restrictive because they can only handle so much of it, and they're not going to be set up like we're going to be set up. It's much more of a load on their plant because it's smaller. So they restrict what haulers can come and when and how much they'll take. So they're definitely looking for other options. And some of it's just getting trucked out of here all the way down to Munising. But yes, we will be contacting all the haulers and letting them know what we have. And if they're interested, we plan on making it easy, 24/7 access. It'll all be computerized. They'll come in, swipe their card. The computer will monitor the flow meter on it. And then that'll all go to a computer, and then we'll bill them from that.
Mark, do you have an idea how many haulers are in the, let's say, the vicinity of that might potentially serve or deliver to our plant?
I want to say I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you, Harold, but I know there's 4 big ones in the county that I know of for sure.
Okay.
There might be a couple of smaller ones.
Okay.
Just as a side note, as you're building this project, I do an inventory of every hauler in the state, because if Ishpeming is restrictive because of size and hours and equipment, there may be other people as well who are restrictive. And the more people who know that Marquette's available, the more chance they'll come here, balancing the cost of the trip versus the cost of having to store the stuff on site. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't restrict myself to locally. I'd let people know that you take in septage, even if it's from Wisconsin, take it in. Because once this is up and running, I think Harold's numbers show that the more you bring in, the better it is for everybody.
Correct. We could designate ourselves as a septage receiving station. And the way the rules work for that is everybody within 25 miles of the plant radius, they have to bring it to us, but then you have to take it. So that's something we'll also be looking at. I'd probably put a little pressure on Ishpeming. But as we go forward with, detailed analysis of this project, those decisions will be made in the future.
How do you make application for that, Mark? I mean, do you talk to the county or is it at the state level?
It's the state. Yeah, the state has a septage receiving. It's all run by the state.
Okay.
Have you had direct conversations with Ishpeming that this is going to be happening?
Yes.
Are they happy, unhappy, or indifferent?
They were, I think, happy about it. It's a pressure on them to take as much as they can. And obviously they like the revenue, but it causes issues with their treatment plant and then also the increased solids that they get from the septage. Their solids handling up there is rather burdensome. They have to move the material around quite a bit. So the more solids they get, it increases the workload.
So rather than trying to undercut us, they may be saying, Marquette's got this great setup. You might want to go down there.
Right. And if they do try something underhanded like that, I don't believe that'll happen. I don't plan on undercutting them, but if they did try something like that, at that point, we could declare ourselves a septage receiving station, or we could try to undercut them, I guess.
No, I wasn't talking about the war of the septage takers. I was just saying if they're happy to have an alternative than having to take it at their site. It sounds like whatever you present to them, they'll take with an open mind. It's like, it's good for us to have an alternative.
I think they're fine with it.
Good deal.
I got a quick question, and maybe it was already brought up before. I didn't see it, but is the facility going to allow like RVs and that kind of campers and stuff to dump?
We'll have to look at that. Right now, we do technically allow people to come down, but we're not set up really well for it. There's no hose or anything to clean up. It's just a dump they can dump and that's it. They can't clean out their hoses, wash their hands or anything like that. But yeah, we could take it with this receiving facility for sure.
Because I know, like going forward, I think a lot of staycations in the area or people coming with RVs, it's going to be a real big business. And I know a lot of people, that's one of their big things is working the offload here before they start traveling around again. So
they can go at the tourist park in the city and they can offload there. Mm-hmm. So, and honestly, back in the day, we used to just let people randomly come down here or there. We didn't advertise it. We did take the, we did let them dump when they did come down. And we weren't really charging for it because it was the paperwork involved. It just really wasn't worth it. So we were told we had to have a fee for it because of Tourist Park. If they felt like we were undercutting them or something. So, I think we charge $5 right now.
You might want to have your engineering team look at improving that septic station as a nice to have project. Because I agree with Leonard. I think with the way things are going, having an alternative to consumer access to a septic deposit station is worth the effort of saying it'll cost us X amount of dollars, but we'll recover it within 2 to 3 years and we'll
Right.
have a viable alternative.
Yeah, and I guess with the software we're going to have for the septic dollars, I think it probably could be pretty easy to just set it up to bill people for that if there's a market for it.
I mean,
and we will be able to take like porta potty waste, any type of that waste.
I'm envisioning the commercial, gentlemen, and I got to tell you, it's going to be impressive. It's going to be like, come to Marquette, have fun, and look what we can do. Send you home empty.
Right. That's the goal.
Think of the gas mileage less if your vehicle is empty of waste driving it home instead of full. I would encourage you to get an estimate on that septage for individuals and see, because everybody's getting used to, swiping their card or calling in or doing an app or something.
Hey, we all set there?
I'm okay.
All right, let's move on to operations.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Right off the top, permit compliance for the month. No permit violations have occurred since the last advisory board meeting.
Yay.
Yay. Plan
Yeah, Dan.
notes. We continue to operate under the city's COVID-19 plan. We're following the city's safety protocols. Those have been fluid since day one. Changing all the time, as we all know. We continue gathering weekly samples of our plant influent and our biosolids and sludge from various stages of the treatment process. And MSU, Michigan Tech, and NMU are all involved in that.
Are we any closer to doing a public announcement of how Marquette is participating in this? Because I've seen multiple articles of this in different locations across the country. This is like a network of people are doing this now. And it's receiving very positive feedback whenever it's publicized. And I know I've asked previously, and I was told it wasn't the right time, and I'm just asking when the right time will be.
This was our second week with NMU, and I haven't got any results back yet. I think once they're completely up and running, we could talk to NMU about, if they want to put something out together. I'll discuss. I'll have a talk with Josh from NMU about that.
Didn't
Yeah,
they?
Go ahead.
Sorry. They had something in the mining journal a few weeks back.
Yeah, there was an article. I forwarded that to you, I think. Didn't I, Margaret?
I did see the article. I just when
Didn't
I'm
really
reading
mention us.
when I'm reading at night, I'm finding that they're actually targeting certain apartment buildings out in Utah and using them as an example, trying to figure out what floor it was coming from. And the analysis continues to be more and more sophisticated. And even though we're targeting a vaccine for next year, we all know the virus will not be eradicated with the vaccine. It's going to be around until it's not, till enough of us are. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at this. When you in Northern would like to team up and announce that you're doing all this, I would be an enthusiastic supporter of that, because it means we're part of the cutting edge technology, which is a big theme for the city of Marquette. We're in a rural location. You wouldn't expect this of this, but hey, we're doing cutting edge technology. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, where was I? Exploratory soil borings for the biosolids handling project were completed. And our rooftop unit over our electrical room, it provides heat and AC to that room, failed a few weeks ago. And that unit is in such poor shape that it's not worth repairing. So we're looking at getting an estimate for replacement of that unit.
Sorry to cut in, Dan, I'll touch on that. I did get a couple estimates from JCI. I can't remember the brand of unit, but for them to get that unit at their cost and then ship it out to meet the specs, to get the proper coatings on, to be in that corrosive environment on the roof, was $34,000 just for their cost. So they went out and they contacted Carrier and got a price for a unit that was all treated already, and that was $67,000. So I think what we're looking at here is we're going to roll it into our solids handling project. I've talked to Donahue, and I'm trying to see if we can find another cheaper alternative than to have something on the roof like that. This one was properly coated, but the firebox basically corroded. And that's what caused the unit to fail completely and made it too expensive to repair. So if there's another alternative, we can heat our electrical room from the room next door. So I want Donahue to look at options to keep that room heated and cooled without having a unit on the roof. And I'll probably have some more information tomorrow. What was that?
How old is that unit?
How old is it?
Yeah.
It was the 2008 project.
Okay.
At the time, Engineered Air was a pretty good company. They were in the States, and Donahue had worked with them a lot and were pleased with their product. And shortly after that, they closed their US side of the business, and they're all through Canada. And things kind of have gone downhill with them. We've had a lot of issues with them trying to get replacement parts, information. It hasn't been very good.
Just a 2 cents point of view, whenever I hear something's on the roof, I think ladders and fall protection might be a decent engineering design to put it where it's not on the roof, where it's more accessible, no matter what system you get in place.
Yeah, this unit's on the roof, but it's far away, well, far enough away from the edge that you don't need fall protection. You can get around the unit and all that stuff. But it's just it's a bad environment because the plant, we have so many air changes in the plant.
Yeah.
We have all those power ventilators, and all that air is getting expelled. And that's what this unit is, depending on which way the wind's blowing. So anyways, Dan.
No, that's good. All right, our Moino Progressive Cavity Belt Filter Press Feed Pump should be here in a few weeks. And recently annual maintenance was completed on both of our cogen units by Kraft. And they reported them both to be in good condition. Let's see, industrial wastewater acceptance activity for last month. Wisconsin Energy's leachate, 103,000 gallons for $3,090. Fabric Cat, 1,800 gallons for $250. LS&I, 24,100 gallons for $3,133, for a total of $6,473. And maintenance management, as far as preventive maintenance goes, we're still technically shorthanded. Well, we are shorthanded, so we've been trying to hit those when we can. And as far as corrective maintenance goes, we're finally starting to chip into that a little bit here and there. For the most part, it's been on hold. And a good example of one of the main repairs that was needed, our big dual fuel boiler that basically compensates for any heat that we need when the generators are down. That thing had not been operational since last spring due to some faulty valves and clogged piping. And we repaired that unit in-house. That job went pretty smoothly, saved a significant amount of money. Recirculation pumps for the digesters, both of them needed seals. As of this week, we've got one of them with a new seal. And we're working at taking the other one out right now as we speak. So hopefully within the next week, we'll have both of those buttoned up, probably sooner. And the mixing pump for digester 1 has needed a seal since last winter. And we have the parts on hand for that. We're looking to get into that within the next week. And we've got a couple of boiler booster pumps in our hydronic system that have had leaking seals for a while, and I managed to locate parts for those a few months ago, so we're just waiting for the time to do those as well. And I'm sure there's a few other examples. Nothing pops into mind at this moment, but we're chipping away at stuff as we can, and when we get our new guy, we can really start attacking regular maintenance, try to catch up.
I was really happy to see this list. I think I was the one who asked to see it. And I'd like to propose that it be part of the regular report each month to month, just because it's nice to know you save $5,000 doing something in the site. It's also nice to know that all these other ones you're working on parts and getting parts in, and it's a question of time and effort, because when anything fails, it's usually because it wasn't on a list someplace. I'm not being silly. It's just, if it's on a list someplace and somebody's got to answer questions about it, it usually doesn't fail.
No, it's funny because that's true. It's the definition of comedy, right?
Yeah, too many meetings and finding out something didn't get done, and somebody in the corner says, well, we didn't put it on the list. We didn't look at it every month. And it's like, well, put it on the list. I love seeing this sort of stuff is what I'm saying. It's not a waste of time. It's really nice to know that you're chucking away at this.
Well, thank you. And I'm a list person myself, so.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Did we finish getting rid of all our solids?
I think we have a little bit of stuff left in as far as cake solids.
Okay.
The liquid stuff, they didn't quite finish, I think, but it's pretty close to being empty.
Yeah, they were within I think there wasn't that much left in the liquid tank. And then they were able to come here last Friday and haul for a day, and they took a good chunk of cake out.
Good.
Still working, hoping they can come back and take the rest out, but I don't know if that'll happen or not. We're in pretty good shape.
Does the DEQ tell you when you can, or the Eagle tell you when you can apply?
Well, the rules are once the ground freezes, we're done.
Yep.
And we've been fortunate with the weather. I always thought if snow was on the ground, we were not allowed to apply. And obviously last week we did get snow Thursday night. So I was in contact with the DEQ or Eagle, and we are allowed to apply on snow, just as long as the ground's not frozen.
It's just cold rain.
Yeah, well, we run into problems that we have to shut things down with the liquid when it's raining out, because obviously the rain can wash it away.
Yep.
We are allowed to apply cake during a rainstorm or something.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just once the ground's frozen, we're done. There is a provision that you can put in for applying, I think it's on frozen ground, something. I can't remember. We wouldn't meet the rule. I think there can't be any snow on the ground. That's what it is.
Okay.
And that provision starts, I think, like December 23rd. And the chances of us not having snow and frozen ground on the December 23rd is pretty slim.
Okay.
Well,
So we're looking pretty good for the winter.
It is.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine, Harold. Like every year, like we've been saying for a long time, in the springtime, we'll be challenged a little bit, but I don't see the need that we're going to need to landfill anything or anything of that nature for sure.
Have you guys started to see any problems with like wipes and sanitizer wipes and stuff down at the plant?
No, not really. For the vast majority of it ends up on our screen, and our screen just takes it out. Not a really big problem for us. Even at our lift stations, Dan might cut in here a little bit. We haven't had a big issue with them. Maybe a few minor plugs here or there.
We started to see them in some of the manholes because I think some of the COVID rules, they have to go around every so often, wipe everything down, and we actually had a couple manholes that were just full, and we had to have them cleaned out. So I didn't know if they were making them that far down or.
We were having a serious problem over at our Pine Street lift station, which is in the parking lot of the Berry Event Center, with plugging pumps. And we suspect it came from Northern, and we had met with Northern and they denied it. But the same material we were finding, they were using. So I think it was the students, just like you said, they were wiping things down and just flushing it. And during the JCI project, we replaced one of the pumps there with a non-clog pump, and that took all our problems away. We haven't had any issues since.
It must be amazing because it must be the same thing, people dumping it out where we're at there too. The businesses, which I won't say who they are, they don't dump them down in the sewer either.
Oh, no, of course not. Yeah, no, it's not them.
No, even though it was right in front of their business.
Yeah.
Is
And then
people,
watching the person doing it, washing the windows down as I'm telling them.
it's people from downstate who come up here to flush their wipes. When I hear something like that, gentlemen, it's never a bad idea to have a public service announcement reminding people that as we go into lockdown, don't put wipes into the sewer. They're not designed to handle it. I would enthusiastically support such an announcement. People generally respond better. And by the way, I wouldn't put it amiss if you put in that announcement, when we find it, we usually find the source, and there can be, consequences for people dumping them in the sewer. I love the word consequences. It has such a nothing and an everything sort of meaning. So I would enthusiastically support seeing that in written or, verbal form. Get them.
I concur. Nail them to the wall, flush them.
No, we don't want to flush them.
Not the wipes, the consumers.
Yeah, if they would, part of the problem, I think the manufacturers put on them that they're flushable. And I know the industry has been pushing to change that. And they have got trying to get the word out there. I think we've been pretty fortunate in the city. But I have heard some horror stories from other municipalities, with that issue.
I know I talked a lot this meeting, but the word flushable assumes A, a toilet that was put in this century, B, pipes connecting the toilet that fit the toilet, C, pipes that are connecting that were manufactured this century too. I'm not being facetious when I say this. Many things are flushable if you have a modern, up-to-date system. As you know, depending on what part of the city you're in, you're talking 70, 80 years ago.
Right.
So I'm just, public service announcements are wonderful things. Matter of fact, why don't you invite the camera into the Northern lift station and just show what you find there?
Well, we don't have a problem there anymore, though.
Oh, darn.
The pump took care of that problem.
Yeah, technology, it's more, anyway.
Yeah, and they do make pumps that have cutters on them, and but if you get overwhelmed, and I think like Lenny said, out in the township, it's not so much getting in the pumps, it's just actually plugging up the sewer lines themselves.
Yep.
And I haven't heard too much from our sewer crew in Marquette. I haven't heard any issues with that, but you know what? I'll reach out to the supervisor and ask him. I'll let you know next month.
And
Thank
the other day, the drying bed, they must have come down and dumped it. Good 60-70% of what came out of the Vector was wipes of some sort. I've never seen anything like it.
Was it the grease too? Because we had an issue in front of the restaurant, US 41 South. Guy likes to wear a red.
On Santa Claus?
They had
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, I know they had a blockage in front of that restaurant, and we're actually putting them on a 3-month schedule now to get their grease interceptor cleaned. But I'm guessing that's probably where it came from.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do too.
It was kind of funny. I went over there to see what the problem was, and then to talk to the manager, and Kurt came walking out.
You caught him making his rounds.
Yeah, I told him you're causing a problem here.
Hey, we good there? Move on to old business, the flow report.
Yeah, and I apologize. This is supposed to be a quarterly flow report, and I didn't get it to you last month. So this is basically the whole fiscal year from last year. shows the 3 municipalities and their average flow and percent used.
Any surprises?
Not really. You can really see in the springtime how the flows come up. And no, I don't see any trends or nothing out of the ordinary.
I'm looking at averages right in the middle of the ranges, which doesn't bother me at all, so good deal.
Yep.
Okay. Looks good. How about new business, the proposed meeting schedule?
I'm fine with it.
I am too.
Should we do a motion on this, Mark?
Yeah, probably. Hey, Pam?
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the Market Area Wastewater Treatment Facility Advisory Board proposed 2021 meeting schedule as written.
Okay, can I get support on that?
Support it.
Any other talk about it at all, or are we good?
I would just like to say that obviously it's going to be fluid until this whole COVID thing.
Right.
Like Dan mentioned, we've changed the rules here in the city. Me and myself and Pam are supposed to be working from home as much as possible. We're still working on getting Pam set up with a laptop so she can remote in. But yeah, we've changed the staffing a little bit at the treatment plant, staggering them, trying to make sure we don't have too many people together at once. And then otherwise, we're just following all the same protocols. But that just came down 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to last till December 8th, I believe.
Yeah.
I've heard talk that if the curve doesn't come down, that this might go all the way through the holidays. And then just to bring up the COVID sample, the latest sample from last week, we're continuing to see the levels at the treatment plant high. We had the initial spike just before the prison outbreak, and then it came down a little bit and it's been kind of steady, but now it's starting to trend up again. I'll let you guys know as soon as I get the next report. You guys want to see that report?
Yes, please.
Okay, I can forward it to you.
Yeah.
We need,
I mean, basically what I get out of it, it's a graph. And then, it just shows you week by week where the detection is in our effluent or influent.
I
like I
like
said-
to see the raw data that you see, so I'm not surprised when I see something on the news. And
Okay.
also so that when people make silly comments, as they tend to do, it's like there's independent verification of these numbers. It's not just,
Right.
it's not coming from Lansing, folks. It's coming from our own treatment plant and other things.
And this
You can lie
report
about
is,
a lot of
this
things,
rep-
but you can't lie about what's in the sewage.
right. This report is sent directly to the health department also.
Yeah.
And I think they discuss it weekly with the hospital and all that good stuff. And that's why we're doing it. I know it's been kind of a work for staff. But this MSU study is kind of like a national study that a lot of people are looking at. And based off of that study, Northern now has started up their lab. I need to talk to Josh to see where they're at with that.
I have
How
a
are they,
feeling.
how are they reporting the numbers? Or is it a count?
Yeah, it's a log. Like basically, I'll send you the latest report and
Okay.
you can kind of look at it yourself here. All right. Yeah, it's a log count based off of millimeters or 100 milliliters of water, like a 3 log count, a 4 log count.
Okay.
But basically, the chart shows that in the spring, when we first started and we knew we had cases in the area, it was detected in the wastewater. And then it went away. And right after Memorial Day, or Memorial Day, sometime in June there, a sample after that, we had an uptick. It went back down and we had no detects all the way through, I believe until the end of August, early September. And that's when we started to see it again. And then that week before the prison outbreak, we had it really jumped up. And it's been up ever since, so.
And just out of curiosity, can they describe whether it's just caused by, say, one person, or is it like 10 people, or?
I don't think that's what the whole point of the MSU study is about. They're taking all the information. I think there's 5 treatment plants in the state of Michigan that are taking part of this, and then there's several in Louisiana. It's kind of a 2-part thing between Louisiana Tech and MSU. So they're just using Marquette as an example. They're taking not only our water samples, but they're also taking all of our lab data, temperatures, all the information. And then they're also taking all the information from the health department on who's getting sick, where they're getting sick, the contract tracing, all that kind of stuff. And they're trying to correlate that to come out with that result.
Okay.
I think is what they're looking to do. And then with
Ladies and
Northern,
gentlemen, I make a prediction. This type of analysis, instead of being a one-off during the middle of a pandemic, is going to become normal going forward.
yeah,
Because they're going to be spikes and valleys long after we get the vaccine, until it's like any other vaccine, until enough people are vaccinated. So I would encourage you to, yes, please share the data. And as soon as you have something to share with the public, please do share.
Okay, so we got motion and support for the meeting schedule. We'll do a roll call. Margaret,
Yes,
Leonard,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
chair votes yes. Is there any public comment?
looks like we lost Kurt. Did he jump out?
Must have.
Kurt left.
Okay.
he's going back to the restaurant to check on the grease trap while we're here.
Yeah.
Any board member comment? Margaret?
Board member comment, my apologies to the board. I fully intended to attend every day of the PFAS conference. Life got in the way. Most of it has been taped, and I'm working my way through the tapes. I sent to Pam and to Mark last night an advertisement that's circulating within the legal community, and I expect to see it very soon on the airwaves, which is for, if you've been exposed to firefighter foam, be aware that firefighter foam has PFAS in it, and you may have a legal claim. And like I said, this is circulating amongst the legal community, but as soon as it does, it'll get out there like those late night commercials for asbestos, or if you worked in this industry. That's not a behind the fence thing, Harold. I know you were going to say that as fast as I said this, but it is an indication to me that PFAS is going from something the state is studying in private conferences to something that's getting out into the public as well. And the only reason we're not seeing more about it is because of the virus dominating everything. So that's my report this month on PFAS.
Thank you. Leonard?
I don't have anything.
Harold?
No comment.
All right, I could look for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I
sorry?
made all the other motions this meeting. I might as well make this one as well. I move that we adjourn.
Okay, Pam, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm sorry. I just didn't hear what you had said, but it's adjournment.
Do I have support for the adjournment?
I'll support it.
Good.
Okay, Margaret,
Yes.
Leonard,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
chair, yes. All right, guys, have a good day.
You too.
You too.
Thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Randy.
Bye.
Good night or good
Thanks,
day.
Right out.